Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I feel like it's been forever. It's been a couple of months since a new episode of Reset with Raven has been out, and it's been a much longer hiatus than I anticipated. I was thinking of taking a 6 week break and coming out with just some new, fresh content, and was really excited about it. And before even the break, I was like, okay, we're going to end with a bang. We're going to end with a solo episode. And truth be told, I continue to put it off. And I was like, okay, so what's going to be in the solo episode? What do you want to tell everybody in the solo episode? Do you want to leave people on a cliffhanger? And all of the should you do this? Should you do that? Continue to build into procrastination, and then continue to really even knock my confidence about what should I say, how should I end, how should we end season one, because thank you all, first of all, for listening, supporting, subscribing, sharing, watching on YouTube. Like, we did something amazing during season one, and I wanted to end with a bang. And I was trying to think of, okay, what does that bang look like, sound like? I decided that it was going to be a solo episode because I definitely want people to get a better understanding and get more just familiar with me, right? That's why it's Reset with Raven. So I had all these like grand ideas about what the final episode would be, and none of that happened for season one. So season one ended with Kyle Spirides of Decide Your Destiny, which was phenomenal. If you haven't listened to that episode, make sure you go check that out. So then it came to, okay, well, when are you going to start back? Again, as I just said, much longer hiatus than I anticipated. And in this, I guess you would call it like gap or time of like, when is the next episode? What is it going to be about? I was trying to get more clear on what I wanted to talk about and what message, like, what do I want to stand for? And what do I want people to hear from my heart, for me? What do I want people to continue to get out of the podcast? And also, too, when you come back for season two, you want it to be bigger and better. So I put a lot of pressure on myself again. Of like, okay, you got to upgrade this, you got to do this better, you got to have more intention around that. And that continued to lead to procrastination. And it also, again, shook my own faith in myself. So I realized that I needed my own reset. So in this time, I've been going through my own reset and trying to really get more grounded on who I am, what I want to do, what message I want to put out in the world. I was listening to, actually, it was a devotional, and it's by the pastor. His name is Andy Stanley, and he asked this question. He said, "What do you want really?" And he was like, "Of course, it's a devotional back from 2012 that I found, and I was listening to it, and I was like, okay, Raven, ask yourself that, and for anybody else listening, ask yourself that. What do you want really?" Like, what do I even want this podcast to be? What do I want out of like my life? What do I want out of my message, my mission? And it really started to get me even more grounded. And what I found is like, sometimes it was even difficult to put words around it. And what continued to come up for me is, I want this podcast, I want this platform to be for everyday people who are going through it. Like, life is not what they thought it would be. It's not what they anticipated. Things are not going how they plan. And how do you get back up? How do you pivot? How do you change? And you hear people saying, "Oh, get back up. You can do it. Rah 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 rah." I mean, that sounds good, but when you're in the thick of it, It is challenging. And the biggest question I believe people are wondering is, well, how? I hear you. That sounds good and all, but how? And I've been working through that how myself as I've been going through my own reset because, I don't want to get up on this platform. I don't want anybody to think, oh, well, she's talking this or sharing that like she has it all together. No, I go through just like anyone else. And I want this platform to be where people share the realness, the real rawness of like, hey, this happened. This is what happened. And I had to turn it around. And I've learned through my own reset and some of my own experiences. And this has taken me a while to even get here. And it's still, I guess I would say it's not necessarily here yet, because that makes it sound like it's a destination. But I'm on the journey of it, of like there's certain things that have to happen. I mean, as sucky as they have to happen. Like because it has to teach you something. It has to build something in you that you didn't maybe know you needed, didn't know you didn't have. That it builds a different strength in you. It builds a resilience in you. I'm reading the book Grit right now by Angela Duckworth, and it talks about passion, perseverance, and I'm thinking about, okay, Raven, where's your grit when you're going through? Where's your grit when it seems like can anything work out? And one of the things that I'm even focusing on as well is changing my language around things. I believe what you put out in the atmosphere, what you say, what you speak over yourself, what you speak over your life, you are making those things as they are so. It's like self-fulfilling prophecy by, putting negative energy, negative words, negative commentary about your life or anyone else's life for that matter into the atmosphere. So one of the things I'm working on too is like even when I said just a few minutes ago about things being challenging or difficult or hard, maybe the new word is it stretched me. It stretched me. It built me. And that's a process, right? And that's a process in the reset that I don't think any of us really like. It's not one of those things where you're like, oh, when I went through this, I it was, it was so good for me that, I look back and laugh. I'm not laughing at any of my stretching times. I'm not, no, it's still not funny. There's still tears, that I've had to wipe away and I've had to learn to, grow through it. I heard Oprah say a few weeks ago, I think she had like a sister speak on own, and she even said there's certain things I don't know that you ever get over, but you learn how to manage them and you learn how like maybe to not be as triggered by them. And that's a process that I'm going through right now. Like, okay, learn how to, what am I supposed to learn from this experience? And how do I, how do I grow through it and get through it? Even though it's challenging, even though it stretched me, that's the correct term. Even though it stretched me, what was I supposed to learn from this? And that's one of the things that, I've done over the past year. Just had a big birthday a few months ago. And that was one of the things I looked at too. Like, what was I supposed to learn in this past decade? And it's very interesting. As I was journaling, um, about what I learned, what I think I was supposed to learn. And I'll share with you one of the biggest things that I learned, and I hope this helps someone else, is to trust your gut. My gut has never for the people in the back lied to me. My gut has always had my front, my back. But I've noticed that when I wasn't in sync with myself, when I wasn't in sync with God, I talked myself out of things. I told myself, "Oh, you're overreacting," or that's not true. When my gut was telling me all along, "Hey, this is what you need to do," or "Stay away from that," or "This is a great opportunity," or "If you do this, it's going to be miserable. You're going to be miserable," or "You're just chasing money. This is not right for you." My gut has never lied to me. So I challenge everyone today to get in sync with their gut and to trust yourself. That's another thing too, because my gut and I have such a close connection. I've had a lot of gut problems for the past few years, and just because of the gut brain axis and the gut brain connection, and just like my stress, my frustrations, my fears, even some of my excitement all go to my gut. So learning how to manage that is super super important. And when I think about like fears and successes, one of the things that came to my mind was, is there a reason that you delayed the next few episodes of the podcast or the season 2 of the podcast because there was some fear of success? Like we did some great work. We had some phenomenal guests and conversations in season 1, and I think there was an internal part of me that's like, well, dang, if you came out the gate swinging like that, what is the requirement, I guess, for season 2? Like, you can only ante up. You got to level up at this point. And I think again that put some stress on me. And I think now I knew, like, okay, you got to go harder, you got to go bigger, you got to continue to serve and give phenomenal content. And I think again that fear of success hit me, like, what if it just continues to get bigger and bolder and better? And I wonder how many people are listening that won't go to the next level, won't do, that next step because they're like, "Oh, it's going to require something of me. It's going to require me to level up." So is it really fear of failure or fear of success? Fear of winning, like, "Oh, I can win again and again and again." And I've noticed that that was one of the things that was kind of holding me in my tracks. And what I decided, literally, again, that is why the name of my company is Activate the Dream. You have to make a decision. I call it, dream, believe, and build. And building is all about that action. So I told myself, you know what? Pick a date and just go. If it's not the way you like it, you can always edit it, pause it, re-record it, but you have to just go. So again, thank y'all for rocking with me, because I decided to just go. Like, I need to go. And another thing that really struck me is one of my mentors and I were having a conversation a few weeks ago, and I was talking about direction. Like, okay, I have this goal, I have this idea. Should I pursue this? Should I pursue that? And again, that fear of failure came up. And another thing too that I thought about, or actually that was maybe brought to my attention, was, has it ever, crossed your mind that when things get challenging, you tend to want to like change direction? That in order for you to see that greatness, in order for you to break through to that next level, in order for you to reach people, somebody needs to hear this. In order for you to reach people, you got to stick through the challenges, you got to stick through the self doubt, you got to stick through maybe low listeners, whatever that is, whatever that challenge is. Maybe you don't know the direction. Put out what's on your heart. Somebody needs to hear it. I'm not sure who this is for, but somebody needs to hear it. Somebody is like, oh, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated. I feel defeated. I feel disappointed. And how do I keep going? Hey, this podcast, this is for you, because I've been there. I've been there, and it is a journey, and it is a daily practice to persevere. Another thing too is to shift your perspective. One of the things that was shared with me was, how are you going to be an overcomer if you haven't overcome anything? Let that breathe. Let that sit. Let that sit in your spirit right now. How are you going to have a testimony if you haven't been through the test? You see, like, I've been through some things, and I'm looking forward to sharing, what's appropriate and what's helpful with you through this medium. I want you all to hear, like, hey, I went through this, I experienced in this, and this is how I got to the other side. Or I'm still going through it. Or it's one of those things where it's a continuous daily practice to work on myself, and to build and to grow and to be a better me. But you don't want to hear the all the rosy glossy stuff. Who wants to hear that, quite frankly? Like, oh my gosh, they're just winning, and it's success, Monday through Sunday, and everything's great. That's not people's story. That's not the real. That's another thing too I've been working on, is not being so much of a consumer, right? So consuming everybody else's social media content, just flipping, scrolling, lurking, and liking. It's one of those things, like, I need to be focused on myself, my growth, my ideas, my thoughts, my vision during, this development season. This is for somebody like you really have to make sure that you are not overly consuming everybody else's stuff, because I feel like it makes you lose your own creativity. It makes you, like, be like, well, dang, is my stuff good enough? Or it don't look like hers or his or whoever. And it's like, it's not supposed to. They don't have your vision. So that's another, key takeaway that I want you all to have as you experience your own reset, and or as you experience your own just growth and development. Like, one of those things, like, keep your eyes on your own paper. And y'all know what I mean. But I think, for me, recognizing that too much consumption of these social media platforms can really disadvantage you to your own innovation. So keep that in mind, as you are continuing to, be the better you. Because it's really outside noise. And that goes back to, again, why I know I had this long hiatus. So as I am continuously working to build Activate the Dream, my company, which, shameless plug, Activate the Dream, is a personal and professional development company, and it's for people that feel feel frustrated, feel like I did everything right, but my life is not going right. It's for those people, because that's my story. And it's a journey to really get to that place of fulfillment and joy, because happiness goes and comes, but that joy of, like, I got joy on the inside, and I'm walking in what I was born to do. I'm doing what I was designed to do. So as I'm continuing to build Activate the Dream, one of the things that delayed me even again in putting out even the podcast and moving forward was outside noise. There were people, maybe well intended, that were saying, you should do it this way. Um, there were people that are in the industry that gave ideas and thoughts, critiques, criticism, feedback, the whole, across the entire continuum. And I really know now that they didn't have my vision. And while I think really well intended, some of their commentary, thoughts, ideas were actually distraction, because I was being pulled in numerous directions. And I remember there was like a couple of weeks and I'm like, wait, what am I doing? What am I doing this for? Like I feel like I lost my my drive about it because it was like, well, do this and do that. And this person's over here doing that. And this person's making this kind of money. This person's making that. And there was a pressure on me, like, well, if you don't make money tomorrow or today, you're not really in business, or you failed, or you're not successful, right? And we could have an entire conversation about what success is, right? Because success is, of course, different for everyone. But that's one of the things that I know. Um, it really took me off, like if you look at the that red dot when you're doing TEDx, it took me off my mark. But I'm back on now, so no worries, no worries. And what put me back on is getting honest with myself. Getting honest with myself of why I was doing this, getting honest with myself with who I know that I'm born to serve, and what people need guidance, need support with, because I've been there and I know people are hurting. People are hurting all over the world right now. People have lost jobs, people have lost family members. People have really felt and become like disenfranchised with their careers, their work, and they're like, what does my next look like? What is what does my joy look like? Am I supposed to be doing this? Is there more to life than this? Like I people are asking these questions right now, and they are seeking answers, they're seeking support, and they're seeking it from people who've been through something, and for people who aren't going to say, well, just keep your head up. Our head has been up. We're tired. We need to talk to people of like, how do I get through this? How do I find what I'm uniquely gifted to do? Because as you were seeing with I think the term is the great resignation right now, people are seeking something that really makes them feel alive, and money and these jobs that don't make them feel alive are losing their place in their life. It's really about, how do I feel excellent about myself, my choices, my career, my family, my purpose. Of course, I want to, be financially well off. But if I'm not full of joy, if I'm miserable, if I'm unhappy, if I'm unfulfilled, those things don't matter. So I am honored, really, to be on this journey with people who, like myself, feel like they did all the right things, went to all the right colleges, worked their butt off, yet still feel like something is missing, still feel an emptiness, still feel that there's got to be more to life than this. I'm on a mission to support you, to help you, to guide you out of that hole, because I know how it feels. It's an awful feeling. It's an awful feeling. You hear the phrase, thriving and not surviving. You can be thriving, making bank, and still not be fulfilled, still not be in your purpose. And I know now that my purpose is to help people get out of that hole. It's an awful, awful feeling, to help people feel free, feel at peace, and feel fulfilled. I'm Raven in Paris. I am super excited to be on this journey with you, and we are back. Season 2 of Reset with Raven. We are back. Let's go.